Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of UEC Chronicles, an initiative by the UEC Graduates Association. A show where we give you a sneak peek into the lives of our alumni. I'm Mohammed Rayan Sailani from 4th year CSE, and in this episode we have Mr. Anandaram KS from the batch of 1964 Mechanical Engineers. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to interact with the UEC, GA and also the current batch of students. I am B Mechanical 1964 batch from UC. At that time it was UCE. Now of course it is UEC. I come from a very small place called Kanime near Kushal Nagar in Kodagu district. It's a very small place, maybe about not even 100 homes there. Even now, it has got only so many houses. I studied my primary school there. After that, I went to a school nearby, that is in Bale, about 3 kilometers from Kanime, to do my middle school. That is 6th, 7th and 8th standard there. After that, I did my high school in a place called Konanuru. Konanuru may be known to many of you. And then in D. Panamaya's High School, Mysore. And after my high school, I studied my pre-university in Yuvaraja's College, Mysore. I got good marks in my pre-university course in my PCM. And I applied for engineering and I was called for an interview at UEC. And I got selected. I was given a seat in UEC in the regular merit quota. That was the first time I came to Bangalore. That was in 1959. And the Bangalore of 1959 and the current Bangalore, there is a lot of difference. At that time, Bangalore was quiet, peaceful, greenery, no traffic problems and all such things that we hear about the present Bangalore. The impression was very good. I liked Bangalore, particularly the KS Circle. You know, the whole atmosphere was so peaceful, nice, and UEC, to me, it looked like a grand old building. So things were extremely good. And we had great professors like the principal, B.R. Nanayangar, and we had the professors like Professor Gundurao, Professor Chodaya, Professor Singhaya, and all such great people, at least in mechanical department. So the study was quite interesting, of course, though I was not a very serious student, I would say. That means whom we call as bookworm, not of that type. But it was okay. I took interest in both studies and other activities. I stayed in the engineering college hostel. The life was quite good, peaceful. And immediately after that, after my BE, there was no campus placements at that time. We never had the idea of campus placements. All of us used to just study for our exams, appear for exams, wait for the results, and after the results, keep trying for jobs. And we used to look for advertisements. Wherever an advertisement appears, you apply, go for interview, all that kind of thing. The olden type of getting jobs. So immediately after my BE, so mechanical, I applied for a job in PWD. I got a job there. I went there for a posting in somewhere near Yellapur in Kalinudi hydroelectric project. It was a great thing. I could see that part of Karnataka. Otherwise, I had never gone to that side. Yellapur and other areas of Karnataka. And while I was there was another advertisement for us. I don't remember exactly. And I was called for an interview in Kushal Nagar Polytechnic. I got selected. I changed my job immediately, though it was only a couple of months in PWD. I accepted the job as a lecturer in Polytechnic at Kushal Nagar. The attraction was it was near to my hometown. Kushal Nagar to my hometown is hardly about 7-8 kilometers. So I stayed at home. Otherwise, I had not stayed at home. No? During my studies, I was in Bangalore. So it was a pleasure to be at home and then go for a job in a nearby place. So this also went on nicely, maybe for about 3-4 months. And by that time, I was called for an interview in Modernization College of Engineering. Now, because it was an engineering college, so many people advised me to go for an engineering college rather than being in a polytechnic. So I went there for an interview and I got selected and I accepted a job at Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan. That was also for about maybe 4 or 5 months. By that time, I think I had applied for a job in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL. I was called for an interview and I got selected there also. I switched over from Malnad College of Engineering to HAL, Bangalore. This was a central government establishment, and those days the scales in HAL were extremely good as compared to other places. We normally had two scales at that time. One was a central government or central government establishment scales like 350 rupees basic plus allowances. And in other state government units, the scale was 250 plus allowances. So 100 rupees difference over 250 was a great attraction, and otherwise also HAL job was considered to be a good job for mechanical engineers. So I accepted the HAL job and I joined. All this, the whole things like PWD, Polytechnic, Malnad College of Engineering and HAL, everything was in a matter of 1 year after my BE. That was 1964. So HAL job was extremely interesting, good, and the facilities were good. And people may wonder, after that I left HAL and went for my MTech. Why this happened, though I was quite happy. I had in my department where I was working 4 seniors. All of them were from IIT, IISc kind of background, brilliant people, ME, MTech kind of people. They used to continuously advise me that only BE wouldn't be sufficient. You should aim at MTech, and their advice had a great influence on me. Then I thought, okay, in spite of everything being good, I should continue my education. That's how I went for my MTech in IIT Bombay. The experience at IIT was extremely good. I really got a good insight into what is education and how an education institution should be. Being a residential institution, things were very good. Library used to be open up to 12 midnight. The laboratories were open 24/7. Researchers like tech students or any others, we had to do some project. We could go to the laboratory at any time, open up the lab, go to our place, our place of experiment, work there, and that kind of a freedom used to be there at that time. It was excellent. The classes used to be there from the morning to afternoon or late afternoon. After that, study timings, good facilities for all types of games in the IIT campus and kind of a thing. It was an extremely good place. Maybe even now, the IIT campus is not very good, but at that time, surely, it was an excellent place. So I enjoyed the whole, the experience of being a part of a prime institution like IIT. By that time, I completed MTech. Even in IIT at that time, to the best of my memory, there was nothing called campus placement yet. Though any company sending letters asking for candidates to apply used to be displayed. So when I was in my MTech final semester, at that time there was no semester pattern, that was year pattern. In my second year, there was a letter from Tata Motors Limited, that is Telco at that time, asking for postgraduates to apply for jobs in the research center at Pune. So I went for an interview in Pune and I got selected, and that's how I joined Telco Engineering Research Center. Telco job at that time was considered to be one of the best jobs in the country. Maybe like what people think of maybe Google or Microsoft these days. At that time, Google or Microsoft was not there in India. Telco job was considered as almost the top one, and it was probably. So I joined there. I had 2 years of what they call a postgraduate apprenticeship. Even that was an excellent experience, I would say. Because in the postgraduate apprenticeship, the company provided exposure to all their units. Telco is a sort of an integrated manufacturing plant. They have their own foundry, they have their own press shop, they have their own machine shop, they have their assembly shop, they have aluminum die casting shop and various types of facilities which are required in an automobile manufacturing industry. So in 2 years, I got exposure to all these different units on rotation. I would consider that kind of an experience, that kind of an exposure makes an engineer perfect. We would have studied something here and there and would have, understood certain aspects, but nothing like gaining practical knowledge. So that practical knowledge was one of the best things that could happen to anybody, whether it's a graduate or a postgraduate. In fact, Telco even now even at that time also, they had a graduate training program of 2 years. So it went on quite well. So after that, after 2 years of training, I got a job in Telco. I stayed there. Maybe after 1 year or maybe after 2 years of training, plus a bit of experience, roughly around after 3 years, I got married. My wife happened to be from Bangalore. So coming to Bangalore was an attraction, and that was in my mind that I must look for a job in Bangalore. So from Telco, everything was fine. I was looking for a job, and I got an opportunity to find a job in Myco Bosch in Bangalore. So after about 6 years in Telco, now Tata Motors, I came to Myco, which is now Bosch in Bangalore. These are all great places to work. Myco at that time was considered to be one of the best companies in the private sector. I'm talking about the period 1974 when I joined Myco Bosch. So I worked in mostly technical training, quality, promotion, human resource development, etc. I spent about 7-8 years in Myco Bosch, and then again, I got an opportunity to get a job in Pune. At that time, Bajaj Tempo Limited, and now it's called Force Motors Limited. Somewhere I had a great attraction for Pune, and my wife also had a liking for Pune, and then she got an opportunity to go back to Pune. She also said, okay, let's go back. I went back to Pune. I worked there in the present Force Motors Limited, and later on Cummins India Limited. Now, by that time, I had spent almost roughly about 25 years in industry. Then I was wondering why I should look for a different type of life. By that time, I used to be called as a guest faculty in different institutions, mainly the management institutions, because I was basically a manager, though I was basically a mechanical engineer and a postgraduate also in engineering. But I had become a practicing manager, and I was also chairman of professional bodies like Indian Society for Training and Development. I was also chairman of CII HR panel, like that. So with this kind of a background, I used to have contacts with both education institutions as well as the industry experts. So the education institutions representatives, they started inviting me for guest lectures, etc. And later on, I also became a visiting faculty in management institutes like Symbiosis, Vaikundar National Institute, and others. I started liking the teaching job, and when I got an opportunity again to switch over to an academic institution, I decided to leave industry and join academics, not in engineering, but mostly in the management side. Management education institution. That's how my switch from manufacturing industry, basically the engineering industries, to the academic institution took place. I'll continue later after if any queries are required. Queries are there. Thank you.
That was actually a very beautiful journey that you took us through in terms of your career and your switch from a corporate / manufacturing sector to an academic sector, sir. So what are, like, in a brief, how can you explain what are the things or the things that you learn all through this way in terms of switching from one complete different sector to another?
Yeah. First thing, let me tell you what are the learnings when we switch from one company to the other company. Later on, I will tell you the switching from mainly industry to academics. For instance, I started my career in Tata Motors, mainly, let me say, after my uptake. Tata Motors, first thing, each company has its own culture, priorities, styles, and all that kind of thing. Now, Tata Motors is a great company manufacturing automobiles and certain other products. Now, culture, coming to the culture, it's a great Indian company with a management style called what we call as paternalistic style of management. In the sense, like parents taking care of children, Tata Motors as a company used to take full care of their employees, whatever may be their level of competence or capabilities, etc. Once they are taken, they should be looked after well. They used to take care of not only compensating them for performance, but even for their growth and, if required, any other benefits to be given to them, etc. That is the kind of a thing. And they were doing quite well with all that kind of a liberal culture. Then I told you I moved to Myco in Bangalore. I didn't leave that company for any, ill feelings or any discontent or discomfort kind of a thing. I left mainly because there was indirect family pressure to be back in Bangalore. Why I should be in Pune, and Bangalore also has good number of companies. At that time, there were no IT companies, let me tell you. We were only having manufacturing companies mainly and the public sector organization. So Myco has a good name and I got the job and I came. And there is a lot of difference between, say, a company like Tata Motors and Myco Bosch. Myco is again a German background company, though Tata Motors also had connection with, Daimler-Benz company of Germany. They had some German culture, German influence, but whereas Myco was totally a German culture because it was held by Bosch to a great extent and the entire culture was German. Even the topmost man, MD, was German and production chief was German, quality control chief was German. They give a lot of importance to certain aspects like productivity, quality, all kinds of things. Very strong push for these things. And people have to be compulsorily performers. At that time, the general impression was if you can survive in a company like Myco for more than a year, that means you are a performer. It's almost like a certificate. Like for instance, I spent about 8 years. And if I say 8 years I was there in Myco, Bangalore, at that time, it's a certificate that I am a great performer. That kind of a culture. And again, they were known for other things like, excellent canteen and excellent bonus and salary was much higher than other private sector and probably the best in Bangalore at that time. So you get an experience of, the different worlds. Like one is an engineering company with a particular type of culture, Indian manufacturing company, topmost Indian management company. Other is a German company, again manufacturing, but a different priorities. So even engineering, experimentation and implementation of certain techniques like value analysis, value engineering, or even certain quality drives like do it first time, such things were given a lot of importance. So we learn another way of management. Both are good, but in their own way. Next I went to Bajaj Tempo Limited. Again, it's an Indian company, but either that's Tata Motors background or German background. It is purely an Indian family-held company, though it's a public limited company. So different type of culture. Again, you see certain priorities and certain important differ. Similarly, Cummins Motor, again with an American background, mainly the kind of culture and the kind of priorities, etc. are different. Now, Cummins had their own priority for quality and certifications, etc., because their products used to be all over the world. Name any company in the world, Cummins engines or Cummins motors, etc., used to be there. So they believed in international standardization concepts. So these kind of experiences you get not by reading. You don't get by reading. You don't understand. Only when you're there, when you view and experience, you see that how different these cultures are. Like, you stay in India, you get experience of India. You go to maybe America, you get the experience of America. Go to Europe, you get the experience of Europe. In living. So like that, different companies will give you different types of experiences. When I switched over to academics, I was, in subjects like management, we have topics like, the work culture and organization cultures, etc. I could easily teach to the students with practical examples based on my own experience. That's how I started enjoying my teaching because I was teaching not from the books, by reading the book, but by my observations in different backgrounds. And my students also. Students, when I say the management students like MBAs and all, they used to enjoy my teaching. They can differentiate between a person who teaches based on experience and a teacher who teaches based on what he reads in a book. That's why I am a great advocate of experience for all professors. I say nobody should enter academic field, whether it's engineering college or a management institution, without experience. But what to do? That kind of a thing doesn't happen in India, unfortunately, right now due to various reasons.
So yes, sir. So that was actually a very insightful, show of experience and the way you shifted. We actually found it very beautiful that you said that you were teaching not based on books or academic material, but more based on your experience. So that was really beautiful to hear. And now we find a lot of students who are at the crossroads of deciding to take up academics as a career choice, like you did. So what advice do you have for those students, sir, who would actually want to take up academics as a career option?
I would surely say academics is a good choice. Please take it. But do not go straight from the college. I am against that thing. In fact, many students who were there with me in my academic career, they used to ask, should I go to the college? I get a job there. I used to advise them, don't go now, go after 5 years. Get some experience. If not 5 years, at least 2-3 years of experience and then go. So, same advice I would say. Your studies now, you would like to teach, share your learnings, good. But instead of teaching based on what you learned from books or see the world, go to places where what you want to teach is implemented. Based on that, you take up your academic career. That's my advice.
You are an ardent, advocate of practical experience before actual stepping into the academic.
So much. I used to refuse, in my career, many times I was in selection bodies and all. I used to advise people who came for interview, why don't you come after for a couple of years of experience or coming like this. But later on I started taking people who didn't have practical experience but had academic experience. Okay, what else? Due to other reasons like maybe shortage of experienced faculty and so many things.
Yes, sir. So coming on to something that has taken place very recently, that is your batch, i.e. the batch of 1963 and 1964. They've sponsored Marvel, that is the new R&D lab in our college. So
Correct.
what do you think is the future of it? What are your thoughts on it, and how do you think it will turn out, sir?
I say, of course, Marvel came up now in that UECGA meeting. It was discussed, it appealed to us. Immediately we thought we should give some support, good support to this kind of activity. And the background is something like this, in 1964, 2014, 50 years we completed. So
Yes.
we wanted to celebrate golden jubilee of our passing out. We just contacted our classmates and floated this idea of having Golden Jubilee celebration in 2014, many of them, and also doing something to the institution kind of a thing. Many of our classmates, they were enthused by the idea. We had our get-together and we also got contributions from different people. We were wondering what way we can really contribute something to the college. We just kept that money because still there was some discussion going on and kind of a thing. And by that time, this idea came up, Marvel. We thought this would be a good cause, let us support it. So whatever surplus we had, we started channeling to this activity. One of the reason is, R&D is a very important activity, whether it is in institutions or in industry or anywhere. There was a time, even in teaching, the professors or faculty used to prepare notes and the same notes used to be delivered year after year. But now, that kind of a comfort doesn't exist for the faculty. Surely in industry, the technology used to be static. The real change started after the, 1991 liberalization, new economic policy. But actually, though new economic policy got approved in 1991, the real impact was felt around 2000. So the drastic changes in India we could see after from 2000 onwards. So industries also, due to various reasons, sometimes they change fast. They will not be able to survive. Lots of examples of companies which were closed and taken over by others is happening even today, every day. One of the reasons why companies do not survive is because they don't catch up with the new technology. One simple example, for instance, ITI, Indian Telephone Industries, IIT Bangalore, was one of the very topmost company, major company in our time. Today, it's not there. HMT used to be one of the world-class companies in machine tools and at that time. Again, they didn't catch up with the technology. They also almost closed. HMT watches used to be a great thing. They are closed, like that. So R&D is essential even at individual level. In the sense, you keep rejuvenating yourself, study new things, prepare the way you need to prepare for the current situation. So in this kind of a background, even historically we see those companies or those nations which had R&D as uppermost thing, they survived. Others don't survive, even if you take the war. So when we came to know about the Marvel, we immediately decided we must support this activity.
Yes, sir. So I actually think it is like we are actually grateful for such a unique opportunity, and especially for students in UAC. And I really hope that it actually turns out to be really insightful and useful for us. I hope the audience also will find this podcast to be very very insightful. And I'm very humbled to have spend time with you and gain so much of insights from your experience. Thanks a lot for spending your valuable time with us. Folks, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you've had a good time. This is Mohammed Rayan Sailani and I'm signing off.